I just got to know and meet Cletus, so I'd call us friends or whatever. But I have the utmost respect for him, the fact he wants to do this right.
NASCAR fans and YouTube followers alike were stunned when Carson Hocevar, a rising star in the NASCAR Cup Series, dropped a bombshell statement about internet sensation Cletus McFarland following his short track debut at Bristol Motor Speedway. What sounded like a casual compliment was actually a powerful endorsement of McFarland's impact on motorsports, and a sign that something big might be unfolding behind the scenes. "I envy his job," Hocevar said, smiling as he addressed reporters.
Me, I just enjoy, seeing his journey, and we played iRace or whatever, kind of hit it off a little bit. I like to have fun, and I'm jealous that he races Crown Vics as much as he does, and has a racetrack and has everything. So I want to be successful on Sunday, but I, envy his job of literally having fun.
This wasn't just locker room banter. Coming from a professional Cup driver like Hocevar, this kind of praise speaks volumes about the respect McFarland has earned from the racing world. Known off the track as Garrett Mitchell, McFarland has taken one of the most unique journeys into professional racing the sport has seen in recent years. From YouTube burnout shows and meme cars to real-life podiums and packed short tracks, his rise is anything but typical. McFarland, who started his YouTube career back in 2009, quickly became a major figure in the automotive world with his comedic redneck persona and high-octane car content. His breakthrough came with the creation of his character, Cletus, which eventually became the face of his channel. Over time, he transformed his brand into a motorsports empire that includes cars like Leroy, a bodiless C5 Corvette with an XO cage, and Mullet, a monstrous El Camino drag car, as well as his purchase of a racetrack, the Freedom Factory in Florida. In 2020, Cletus bought the abandoned DeSoto Speedway and turned it into a hub for grassroots motorsports events. Through his Cletus and Cars shows, he drew thousands of fans and showcased everything from burnout contests to drag racing. He even brought stadium super trucks to Bristol Motor Speedway, where he earned a podium finish in one of the events. But while fans loved his content, few expected him to leap into professional racing. That all changed in 2025 when Garrett Mitchell signed with Retta Jones Racing to run a part-time Arca Menard Series schedule. His debut at Daytona didn't go as planned. He was caught in multiple wrecks and ended with a DNF in 30th place. But he bounced back quickly. In his second race at Talladega, McFarland stunned many by finishing 10th. Then at Charlotte, despite being involved in a chaotic restart incident and publicly apologizing, he managed to secure a 9th place finish, his career best at that time. These weren't just lucky runs. They were signs of someone who was actually learning, adapting, and improving inside the car. That trajectory brought him to Bristol Motor Speedway for his short track debut, a critical test in the ARCA series. Unlike super speedways, short tracks are tight, aggressive, and punishing. McFarland qualified 20th and held position for most of the race, climbing up to 15th before suffering a tire failure with just over 20 laps to go. He hit the wall but managed to get back to the pits without triggering a caution, though he dropped further down the order and ultimately finished 17th, 7 laps down. Still, considering the mechanical issue and the caliber of competition, it was a solid performance. Even more impressive was how NASCAR gave fans a chance to ride on board with him via a live-streamed in-car camera on YouTube, reaching over 35,000 live viewers during the race. It was a perfect example of how Cletus bridges the gap between digital entertainment and real-world racing. That race alone didn't just earn him a respectable finish, it earned him the respect of fellow drivers and a new wave of fans who had never tuned into Arca before. The crossover appeal of a content creator who can hold his own on the track is a storyline NASCAR hasn't seen at this level in years. He's bringing in young audiences, first-time viewers, and long-time fans who appreciate passion over polish. Back in the garage area, McFarland confirmed he isn't done yet. Speaking after the race at Bristol, he said, "We're planning on coming back." Part-time Mark Retta, co-owner of Retta Jones Racing, later confirmed that they're targeting an 8 to 10 race Arca schedule for 2026, with some super late model starts included as well. Drivers like Christopher Bell and Alex Bowman have also taken note. Bell admitted, "It's refreshing whenever you get a guy like that. I don't think he is trying to make a career out of this. Maybe one day he will. I don't know. But he definitely does it in his own way, and I respect that. Bowman added, I think he is going about things the right way. He's got a lot of people helping him. And that's the key. McFarland isn't chasing racing just to pad his resume. He brings a fan-first attitude, genuine humility, and a love for competition. His path into ARCA wasn't traditional, but it represents a new way to enter motorsports, where community, digital influence, and raw passion can carve out real opportunities. It's also worth noting that McFarland's racing efforts have not been limited to Arca. In 2022, he entered the Stadium Super Truck Series, racing under the number 1776. In just 6 starts, he scored a podium finish and showed strong racecraft, even leading laps at Long Beach before crashing in the final jump. He returned in 2023 to win in the stick shift class at the World Cup Finals, driving his beloved Corvette, Leroy. His car builds are just as legendary as his content. Leroy and Mullet have both won at major drag racing events. At the 2022 World Cup Finals, he blasted a 6.47-second run at 222.95 miles per hour in the El Camino. Then in 2023, he won again in a different class driving Leroy. He's not just a driver, he's a builder, a showman, and now, slowly, a legitimate competitor in ARCA. What makes Cletus different is that he never hides the learning curve. He posts the mistakes, the struggles, the nerves behind the wheel. Whether it's missing a braking zone or botching a restart, fans get to see the entire process. The good, the bad, and the hilarious. That vulnerability is why people relate to him and root for him, even when he's several laps down. So when Carson Hocevar says he envies McFarland, it's not just admiration, it's recognition. McFarland may not be fighting for a cup title yet, but he's racing on his own terms, making noise and capturing attention from fans and drivers alike. That kind of crossover appeal is rare, and it's exactly what NASCAR might need more of in today's shifting landscape: new energy, unconventional paths, and personalities who can connect directly with millions. Whether Cletus McFarland becomes a full-time racer or keeps mixing YouTube with part-time racing, one thing is clear: he's earned his place in the conversation. He's no longer just a content creator dabbling in motorsports. He's a racer, a disruptor, and maybe, just maybe, a future cup driver in the making. With a confirmed return to ARCA in 2026 and growing praise from cup drivers, the road ahead for Cletus McFarland looks fast, fun, and full of potential. And as Hocevar said best, he might just have the most fun job in all of racing.
Denny Hamlin on the pole position alongside Kyle Larson. Race 2 of the playoffs. Let's go!
Denny Hamlin just won his 5th race of 2025 at Worldwide Technology Raceway, but what he said after crossing the finish line has everyone talking. For the first time ever, the 44-year-old driver revealed exactly when he plans to hang up his helmet. And the clock is ticking faster than anyone thought. When reporters asked Hamlin how he stays so focused at his age, his answer caught everyone off guard.
I knew exactly how many races were left, and it's like, the countdown has begun.
This wasn't some vague comment about retiring someday. Hamlin was dead serious about having an exact number. He went on to explain that he'll turn 45 the week after this season ends, and that leaves him just 2 more seasons after 2025. Do the math, and you're looking at roughly 70 races left in one of NASCAR's most successful careers. Hamlin even talked about a recent conversation with Kevin Harvick, saying, "I knew exactly how many races were left." But here's the kicker. Hamlin isn't planning to fade away quietly. He made it crystal clear that pride won't let him stick around past his prime.
There's just got to be a means to an end. I'm just not going to leave this sport on my deathbed. Just leaking oil, just running in the back of the pack. I have way too much pride for that. I'm way too cocky for that. There's just no way. I want to be able to win my last race.
This timeline means Hamlin has exactly 2 more shots at the Daytona 500, 2 more chances to finally win his first Brickyard 400, and most importantly, a rapidly closing window to capture that elusive first championship. When asked if winning the title would make him consider walking away on top, Hamlin didn't hesitate.
Sure, absolutely. Sounds like a good way to end.
Sunday's victory at Gateway wasn't just another win, It marked Toyota's 200th NASCAR Cup Series victory, with Hamlin claiming 56 of those wins. That ties him with Kyle Busch for the most Toyota victories ever. At 59 career wins, he's also just one away from tying Kevin Harvick at 60 wins. Tyler Gibbs from Toyota Racing Development put the milestone in perspective, saying it represents 19 years of partnership success across teams like Joe Gibbs Racing, 23XI, and others. For Hamlin, who switched from Chevrolet to Toyota early in his career, the relationship runs deep.
Relationship with them. And so, I've got Toyota running through my blood, both top and bottom.
He said, referencing both his driving career and his ownership of 23XI racing with Michael Jordan. While Hamlin was celebrating and making retirement announcements, Shane Van Gisbergen was fighting for his NASCAR playoff life, and honestly, it wasn't going well. The New Zealand driver started 18th at Gateway, just 0.4 of a second behind Hamlin's pole-winning time. That looked promising, but things went downhill fast. Van Gisbergen climbed to 17th on the opening lap, but his car developed serious handling problems that never got fixed.
Oh, we're wrecking! It's Shane Van Gisbergen and the WeatherTech Chevrolet.
No caution, get it rolling here if you can. Barely touch the left rear on the wall. Should be fine. Get it turned around here, all good.
Over the radio, Van Gisbergen didn't hold back his frustration. "I feel useless," he told his crew after struggling with a car he described as very loose. The problems were consistent throughout the race. He'd show speed on restarts, but lose everything once the field spread out. "I'm good on a restart, but once it strings out, I've got nothing," he explained to his team. The first stage gave Van Gisbergen some hope. His crew gained him track position during a caution, and he briefly climbed as high as 9th place before dropping back to finish the stage in 12th. But stage 2 was worse, with Van Gisbergen falling all the way back to 19th and missing out on stage points again. Then came the moment that really hurt his playoff chances. With 85 laps to go, Van Gisbergen spun in turn 3, bringing out a caution. While he avoided damage, the incident cost him valuable track position. His team tried to get creative with strategy, calling for a 2-tire stop that briefly moved him toward the front. But any chance of capitalizing disappeared when officials penalized him for speeding on pit road. That speeding penalty forced a drive-through that dropped Van Gisbergen deep in the field with no time to recover. He ended up finishing 25th, sandwiched between Ross Chastain and Alex Bowman. It was a disappointing result that pushed him 15 points below the playoff cut line heading into Bristol. After the race, Van Gisbergen was honest about where his team stands. He said, "We were probably a 15th place car, but then detuned it a little bit and ended up where we did." He acknowledged that finishing 20th or 15th represents huge improvement for his program, but added, "Obviously in the playoffs you expect more. There's that pressure there." The playoff picture after Gateway shows just how much trouble Van Gisbergen is in. With one race left in the first round, only Hamlin and Chase Briscoe have locked in their spots with wins. Kyle Larson sits 60 points above the cut line and can actually clinch his spot just by starting the race at Bristol. Above the cut line, you've got Bubba Wallace at plus 50, Ryan Blaney at plus 42, despite getting spun by Larson during the race. Austin Dillon sits 11 points back, followed by Van Gisbergen at minus 15, Alex Bowman at minus 35 after another rough day, and Josh Berry at minus 45, following his second straight last-place finish. For Van Gisbergen, Bristol represents a last-chance opportunity. The Base Pro Shop's night race has been tough for international drivers to figure out, and Van Gisbergen's limited experience at the half-mile track doesn't help his chances. He needs either a miracle finish or for several drivers ahead of him to have problems. Meanwhile, Hamlin left Gateway in vintage form, embracing his role as NASCAR's biggest villain. After taking the checkered flag, he did a long burnout down the front stretch while the crowd booed loudly. His response was perfect. It's remarkable what Hamlin is juggling right now. He's co-hosting a podcast, running a 3-car race team with Michael Jordan, raising 3 kids including one born just 3 months ago, and still performing at an elite level in his 20th Cup Series season. Team owner Joe Gibbs marvels at Hamlin's ability to handle everything, joking he's in one meeting after another. The more stuff he does, the better off he is. The contrast between Hamlin and Van Gisbergen couldn't be sharper right now. Hamlin is racing stress-free after locking in his playoff spot, while Van Gisbergen faces potential elimination from his first NASCAR playoff appearance. Hamlin has a clear timeline for his career and specific goals he wants to achieve. Van Gisbergen is still learning how to set up cars for oval racing and finding speed when it matters most. Bristol Motor Speedway will be the site where these two very different stories continue. The stakes couldn't be higher for the four drivers currently on the outside looking in. Josh Berry is 45 points back and basically needs a win to advance. Alex Bowman has struggled with speed and pit road mistakes for 2 straight weeks. Austin Dillon is hanging on by 11 points after a difficult day at Gateway where he actually spun out his own brother Ty during the race, but all eyes will be on Van Gisbergen. The 3-time Supercars champion came to NASCAR with high expectations, and making the playoffs in his first full season was already an achievement. Getting eliminated in the first round would sting, but it wouldn't erase the progress he's made adapting to a completely different style of racing. Hamlin's retirement timeline adds another layer to this story. While Van Gisbergen is just getting started in NASCAR, one of the sport's biggest stars is counting down his final races. Hamlin wants to go out on top, and with 70 races left, every opportunity to win becomes more precious.
What do you think?
Oh man, he's the real deal. At first I wasn't sure, but the guy's earning respect. He's bringing the fun back.
62 to go, and they come to the line.
Oh, look at, oh no!
Oh, he spun the tires and then spinning.
Cletus McFarland was never supposed to be a NASCAR driver. Known for his insane car stunts and burnouts on YouTube, he seemed like just another internet star playing around with fast cars. But now, he's racing with the pros, and the NASCAR world is divided. Some are cheering him on, while others think he doesn't belong. So, what do the real NASCAR drivers think about him? The answers might surprise you. Cletus McFarland's rise from a YouTube car enthusiast to a legitimate NASCAR racer is nothing short of extraordinary. For years, Cletus was the guy who burned rubber, hosted burnout contests, and created wild car stunts for his massive online following. No one could have predicted that this YouTube personality would one day find himself behind the wheel of a real race car in the NASCAR scene. But when Cletus made his ARCA debut at Daytona with Reddy Jones Racing, it was clear this wasn't just a stunt, it was the start of a serious racing career. Yes, his first race ended in a crash, but instead of giving up or making excuses, Cletus took it as a learning opportunity. He didn't just walk away. He became obsessed with improving. Cletus started studying race tapes, watching lap after lap of footage, and seeking advice from veteran drivers who had been racing for decades. This was no longer about stunts or social media fame. It was about becoming a skilled driver. Despite his commitment to getting better, not everyone was impressed. NASCAR veteran Kenny Wallace didn't hold back. He criticized Cletus for using an unauthorized in-car camera setup and wearing safety gear that didn't meet NASCAR's standards. Wallace, a respected voice in the sport, was blunt. You don't just show up and freestyle your way through. There are lives on the line. His criticism was clear. It wasn't about fame. It was about the rules and safety of the sport. Rather than reacting defensively, Cletus did something surprising. He apologized.
So I felt like an idiot, and I apologize to who I hit there. That sucks, but we ended up, what, P9?
This moment of humility showed the racing world that Cletus wasn't just there for the attention, he was serious about learning and earning his place on the track. It didn't take long for other NASCAR legends to notice Cletus's drive to improve. One major turning point came when NASCAR great Greg Biffle, a driver with 19 Cup Series wins, offered to help. Here's what Jeff Gregg said post-race about Cletus McFarland's ARCA debut.
He did all the work, warmed the tires up on the back. I told him to, and he, felt like he had his grip down, but the back different than the front.
Biffle took Cletus under his wing, giving him tips on everything from driving techniques to communication with the pit crew. This kind of mentorship from someone with Biffle's experience was a game changer for Cletus, giving him the confidence to keep going. Then came Kevin Harvick, a 3-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. Harvick invited Cletus onto his podcast for a no-nonsense conversation. Harvick explained that NASCAR was no easy sport to master. It took years of experience, hard work, and dedication. But Harvick also saw the effort Cletus was putting in and acknowledged his determination. This kind of support from two seasoned veterans proved that Cletus wasn't just a flash in the pan, he was becoming a legitimate driver in the sport. Every race Cletus entered was a chance to grow, and he didn't shy away from the hard lessons.
I think I ran every single possible line through 3 and 4.
I saw that.
And I think I just killed the front right on the car,
Yeah,
trying to keep up with those dudes.
He wasn't afraid to admit that he was struggling, but it was clear he was learning from every mistake. He also had some humorous insights along the way. After being passed by another driver, he joked,
It's like getting your freaking wing clipped
Yeah.
when they come out on your outside. Holy,
Yes.
the first time that happened, I'm lucky I didn't take that dude outside of me out.
But these jokes weren't just about fun. They showed that Cletus was absorbing the reality of NASCAR's intense competition. He wasn't there to coast, he was there to work hard, learn, and improve. Critics raised concerns about whether the sport was taking too big a risk by letting a YouTube star into the mix. Was this about entertainment, or was it about racing skills? These were valid concerns, especially after Cletus caused a crash that took out several cars. In a moment of raw honesty, he said, "I want to start out by apologizing to the team that I took out.